After 7 years of marriage, the evening had begun like so many before it. I had gone out of my way to arrange a table at her favorite Italian restaurant, planning a small surprise, a quiet dinner, just the two of us. But as we sat across from each other, something felt off. She picked at her pasta without interest. Her attention divided between the glow of her phone and the restaurant's entrance. I brushed it off at first, assuming she was simply drained from work. I had no idea what was waiting for me that night. When our main dishes were placed before us, I tried to lift the mood with a lighthearted story from the office. Usually, she would at least smile or roll her eyes, but instead her face stayed blank. She stared at her plate as if it belonged to someone else. Concern crept in and I gently asked if everything was all right. Her eyes rose to meet mine, but they looked distant, emptied of warmth. Then she said the words that would alter the shape of my world. "We need to talk." I set my fork down carefully, already feeling a heaviness forming in my chest. She inhaled deeply, like someone about to dive into freezing water, and then with a voice to calm, she confessed, "I'm seeing someone else." The sentence didn't thunder through me like in the movies. There was no dramatic collapse. Instead, it landed with quiet finality, immovable, undeniable. For a split second, I couldn't move. I sat frozen, trying to make sense of what I had just heard. Around us, life carried on as usual. People laughed over wine. Forks scraped against plates. Conversations hummed. Our world was shattering in silence, invisible to everyone else. I reached for my glass, sipped slowly, and managed only, "Thank you for telling me." That was all I could muster. My calmness seemed to catch her off guard. Maybe she had expected me to shout, accuse, or break down, but I had no strength left for theatrics. For months, I had felt the distance growing. Her late nights, her clipped responses, the fading spark in her eyes. Deep down, I'd already known. She began explaining herself, insisting it wasn't deliberate, that the bond with him had developed unexpectedly, that hurting me was never her intention. Her tone carried the rhythm of words she had repeated in her head many times before. I let her speak without interruption, nodding occasionally, not in agreement, but to allow her to finish what she had clearly rehearsed. When she finally stopped, her gaze lingered on me, almost searching for forgiveness or release. I offered neither. Instead, I folded my napkin with care, placed it neatly on the table, and said evenly, "I hope he gives you what you're looking for." A flicker of something, maybe regret, maybe guilt, crossed her face, but it was fleeting. It could not erase what she had already confessed. The rest of the dinner passed in silence. When the bill came, I paid without a word. Outside, she hesitated before asking whether I'd be all right driving back alone. A faint laugh slipped out of me. "I'll be fine," I told her, and stepped out into the sharp night air, leaving behind the pretense we had been clinging to. The drive home was quiet, but inside my head, memories replayed in fragments. Our first date, the sway of our first dance, evenings filled with laughter that now seemed like echoes from a different life. I didn't cry, and I didn't rage. I just let the memories drift through me like clouds passing across the sky. When I arrived home, I packed a small overnight bag and left. I needed distance, not only from her, but from the suffocating weight of everything that had unraveled between us. That night, I stayed at a friend's place. For the first time in months, I slept without glancing at my phone, without waiting for her text that never came. In the days that followed, I chose silence. I didn't reach out. She sent a handful of messages, but I didn't answer. There was nothing left to discuss. She had made her choice, and mine was clear. 2 weeks later, I filed for separation. She didn't fight it, didn't argue, didn't even seem surprised. Maybe she felt relief. Maybe, in truth, she had walked away from us long before that dinner. Whatever the case, I felt something I hadn't expected. Freedom. It's strange how someone else's betrayal can unshackle you. Her confession had given me the closure I hadn't known I needed. Now each morning I wake lighter, breathing easier, no longer bound to someone who couldn't value what we shared. Looking back at that night, I don't regret the way I responded. I gave her no scene, no drama, only truth. In that calmness, I found my strength. And in her honesty, However painful, I found M.